Our episode today commenced at the academy. The instructor informed the pupils about a grave ailment that has become prevalent in recent times. This sickness is known as dotin. The instructor inquired if anyone could elucidate the nature of this illness, and unexpectedly, Jill raised his hand. Astonishment rippled through the classroom, and curious glances were cast his way. They thought, a servant should know his station. Whispers circulated, speculating. Perhaps he's attempting to flaunt his knowledge. The instructor, noticing the murmuring, admonished them. Cease your private conversations. He then invited Jill to respond. Jill rose and commenced his explanation. Individuals afflicted with dotin exhibit spots on their skin, which progressively vanish. It's purported that this isn't a dermatological issue, but rather a malady of the internal organs, as it has been predominantly witnessed among residents of the Diagon River Valley. The prevailing theory suggests the river water is the root cause. Given that those residing near the river depend on its water for their daily necessities, they experience continuous exposure to this ailment. The scene transitioned to Alisa and Jill engaged in conversation. She commended him, remarking, "You've become incredibly diligent." He confirmed her observation, stating that he had indeed been immersed in his studies day and night. Just then, Prince Duke appeared and initiated some playful banter with Alisa. She retorted, "What is your purpose, Prince Duke? We are currently preoccupied. You must depart immediately." He insisted on remaining, requesting that she clarify the nature of the diseases to him as well. Alisa, utilizing a map, began her explanation. It's a consequence of Laval's rapid expansion. With Dorcas situated at the river's outlet, our options are limited, even if we desired to implement preventative measures. Our tense relations with Level further complicate this predicament. Prince Duke informed them, "We are exploring every avenue to mitigate the proliferation of dotin." Jill then interjected, "I've heard whispers of a miraculous remedy for the illness in Level, a scarce herb known as Maddie. It's an exceptionally rare herb found on the cliffs north of Laval. Sadly, the region most severely impacted by the infection in Dorcas is the village of Luana. This is due to the village's location within the tidal reaches of the Diagon River, where the majority of sufferers rapidly succumb due to the dearth of treatment. Hospitals and medical facilities are extremely limited. I've been delving into this issue, aspiring to discover a solution. I feel compelled to provide them with assistance." The focus then shifted to Prince Duke, conversing with his confidant. He professed his profound affection for Alisa, expressing his reluctance to restrict her. He yearned for her freedom, to witness her soar like a hawk, the way he had always perceived her. When the scene returned to Jill and Alisa, she mentioned, "I misplaced a book I intended to retrieve in one of the library rooms. I need to go and get it now." Jill offered, "Permit me to retrieve it for you, as I am in your service, Alisa." She responded gratefully, "If it wouldn't be too much trouble, I would be most appreciative." Jill departed to fetch the book, but on his return journey, Liz intercepted him, requesting a moment of his time. She explained her desire for him to participate in a study session with her, instructing her about the disease. "Albert divulged everything to me, so I was hoping you might share further insights regarding Luana. Please, I yearn to be as knowledgeable as Alisa. I want to dedicate myself to studying diligently, so we can foster a deeper understanding between us." Jill regarded her with an air of hesitation and apology, as if skeptical of the possibility. "How can villagers and those from beyond truly comprehend one another?" he pondered. Liz countered, "It might present initial challenges, but I'm confident we can overcome them." She then employed a mystical energy, akin to hypnosis, somehow influencing Jill's gaze. She drew nearer, her voice softening. Liz disclosed that she had been subjected to repeated bullying and now wished to extend the hand of friendship to everyone. She implored Jill to befriend her, just as he was with Alisa, and to study alongside her, to compose an even more exceptional essay than her previous work. Under this mesmerizing sway, a captivated Jill conceded, "Very well, I will do whatever you ask." At that instant, Prince Duke burst into the room, his anger evident, demanding, "What have you done?" Liz, startled, stammered, "What are you implying? What do you mean? We were merely conversing." Duke seized Jill, whose eyes flickered, as if awakening from a trance. The prince promptly escorted him from the room. Liz called after them, "Wait, our discussion is unfinished." But Duke, fixing her with a sharp, scrutinizing look, dismissed her concerns, saying, "That is irrelevant." Jill returned to Alisa, who commented on the duration of his absence, expressing her concern for his safety. Duke intervened, explaining that Jill had been behaving peculiarly, hence his intervention. Alisa then inquired if Jill wished to return home, but Jill reassured her that he felt perfectly fine. Duke cautioned Alisa to exercise vigilance, but his meaning remained unclear to her. The scene then shifted to Duke in conversation with Mill. He inquired about her progress on the investigation he had entrusted to her. Mill responded with a question of her own, asking if he was referring to the Saintess, whom she dismissed as a mere figurehead, universally admired, and confessed to having made no substantial progress. Duke then inquired about the document inscribed in the ancient tongue. Mill admitted that she hadn't even commenced its examination. The subsequent scene depicted the students assembled in the dining hall, partaking in a meal. Among them was Jane, consumed by rage and clutching a pair of scissors, clearly harboring malicious intent towards Carol. The scene reverted to Alisa and Jill, seated together, engrossed in their studies. Alisa's thoughts drifted to the dotin epidemic and the wolf dispatched to Liz. She found these matters perplexing and concluded that a visit to Laval was necessary to unravel their mysteries. However, the sole means of reaching Laval involved exile from the kingdom, leaving her uncertain about her course of action. Suddenly, a piercing scream shattered the silence. Alisa rushed to investigate the commotion and discovered Jane, who had haphazardly sheared off all of Carol's hair, and then turned to Alisa, accusingly proclaiming, "This is entirely your fault." Alisa inquired about the reason behind such an act, to which Jane attributed blame to Alisa, claiming Carol's behavior had become pathetic. Jane explained that Carol had spent an excessive amount of time in Liz's company, attempting to emulate her, a sight that filled her with disgust. Just as Alisa had once humiliated her, Carol had attempted to inflict the same upon Jane. Alisa calmly responded that this was merely an expression of hatred, and that she recognized Jane's resort to violence stemmed from her inability to prevail through words. Jane retorted that Carol had cultivated her long hair solely to resemble Alisa. Addressing Carol directly, Jane declared, "You will never become Alisa?" Alisa then calmly stated that this was already apparent to her. She knew Carol had always admired her, which is why she remained unaffected by such trivial squabbles. Internally, Alisa mused, "The essence of a villainess is to be despised." Jane loudly proclaimed for all to hear, "As you can see, Alisa is completely indifferent to Carol's plight." However, Carol interjected, defending Alisa, "This wasn't Alisa's doing. You were the one who cut my hair with those scissors." Jane recoiled, frightened, exclaiming, "Don't look at me like that, with those eyes, just like Alisa's." Alisa then employed her magic to seize the scissors, fleeing from Jane, and proceeded to cut her own hair. A wave of astonishment swept through the room as Alisa, smiling, declared, "Now our hairstyles are identical." Jill, awestruck, commented, "You perpetually amaze me." The scene transitioned to Duke conversing with Alisa, teasingly remarking, "Your new appearance is both endearing and exasperating. I wish to be the first to witness it." Mill embraced Alisa, exclaiming, "This hairstyle suits you perfectly. It even replenishes my personal energy reserves." Mill continued, lamenting Duke's constant barrage of assignments, while Carol expressed gratitude for their familial connection, confessing her elation at having styled Alisa's hair. Duke abruptly addressed Mill in a tone laced with anger, causing Mill to shudder and remark, "His glare is terrifying." The following day, numerous girls at the academy had adopted similar short hairstyles. Henry remarked to his companion, "Previously, everyone gravitated towards Liz, but now their attention is fixated on Alisa." Meanwhile, a group of girls could be seen engaged in a heated argument. One declared, "If your allegiance lies with Alisa, then depart." Another retorted, "This rose garden is accessible to all." Fine observed, "It appears a few devoted followers remain." Henry intervened, addressing the girls, "This squabble is marring your lovely faces," and proceeded to lead them away, effectively quelling the dispute. The scene shifted back to Jill and Alisa. Jill, surprised, commented, "Even individuals once loyal to Liz appear to be reconsidering their allegiances. However, even if your haircut garnered significant attention," Alisa interrupted, responding, "I've begun to exude the aura of a villainess." Is such a dramatic shift in public opinion truly plausible? Something feels amiss. As they walked, Alisa overheard a group of girls berating Jane. They accused her, saying, "You're merely feigning victimhood. This is entirely your fault. Your actions have even cast doubt upon Liz's character. You are unworthy of breathing the same air as Liz." Jane wept as they continued their taunts and ridicule. Alisa intervened, intercepting the mud the girls were flinging at Jane and shielding her. Alisa sternly warned them, "I suggest you depart immediately. You would be wise to cleanse yourselves of that mud before I retaliate." Intimidated, the girls fled. Jane, still tearful, questioned Alisa, "All of this stemmed from you in the first place. Why are you assisting me?" She demanded to be left alone. Alisa utilized her magic to cleanse Jane's attire and offered words of comfort. There's no shame in shedding tears if you feel the urge to cry. You perceive crying as an admission of defeat, but frustration is a catalyst for personal growth. Remain here until you are composed. No one will disturb you until then. Alisa departed and erected a magical barrier over the entrance to ensure Jane's sobs remained private. Jane finally succumbed to her tears. Jill turned to Alisa and commended her kindness. Alisa demurred, "Such compliments are more fitting for Liz. I simply couldn't bear to witness such an unpleasant spectacle." The episode concluded with Mill in the library, clutching a book with excitement. She exclaimed, "I've located what I've been searching for."